Before you go running to the comments, I just want to let you know, you're right. I originally wrote this review to bash the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles new movie, Mutant Mayhem. I was looking at it with a very critical set of eyes. I was a little too harsh on it in the beginning. But now I have learned that it is a very good adaptation. And stick tuned to find out why. Today I discuss what works and what doesn't work with the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Enough talk! I dream about fighting every night!
Welcome to Cluster Reel. I'm your host, Chris. A spoiler warning is in effect. If you want to avoid the spoilers, click on that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, released in 2023 and directed by Jeff Rowe. This movie was made to have a breath of fresh air to the TMNT franchise and to hopefully launch another string of movies for them. There are changes in this movie, whether it be art style, voice actors, or even characters themselves. Some of the changes I think are really, really good and help benefit the overall franchise, and there's some changes that I don't think work quite as well, but still work to a degree. Before we get started, please like this video. It really helps out the channel, and it prevents you from smelling like Splinter's butt.
Does it smell weird up there?
I bet it smells like cheese.
Let's get into it.
For 15 years now, we have lived here. I was a pet of my master Yoshi, learning the secret art of ninja.
The story of TMNT follows a rat who takes care of 4 mutant turtles that live in a sewer and teaches them in the way of ninjutsu. It's a pretty basic story, right to the point. You know what's going on. Everyone knows the story, even though I'm not a big like super fanboy of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know the backstory. Or I thought I did. I was always under the impression that Splinter used to be a human before he was a rat. That was not the case. There was an adaptation somewhere along the line that had him as the actual master, who was Hamato Yoshi. But in the original comics, in the original movie, Splinter was the pet of Hamato Yoshi, not himself. I always thought like the conflict he had with Shredder was because he used to be a human and all of that. And there was only maybe an adaptation or two that was like that. Every other adaptation had him being a rat that was either a pet of him or completely dropped the Hamato Yoshi part altogether. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they have a plethora of villains, whether it be the Foot Clan, Shredder, Bebop and Rocksteady, Krang. They have a wide variety of villains that make up their rosters. And Shredder is the main antagonist, and he was set up to be Splinter's foil. And turns out that the original comics and in the original movie, Shredder actually killed Hamato Yoshi, who was Splinter's master. And that's why he has the grudge against Shredder, is because he saw him kill his master. Now, I know there was an adaptation where that Splinter was actually human. I've tried to research it. I know there is one where he is actually Hamato Yoshi. So if you please know an adaptation where he is actually Hamato Yoshi, please comment below. I'm trying to look at it because that's like what I remember. I want to get into the side characters of TMNT. There are many, and many allies to them as well. You have April O'Neil, who has been in every single adaptation, whether it be a good adaptation of her character or a bad adaptation of her character. I think we can all agree Megan Fox was probably the worst adaptation of her character.
You need to leave!
As much as I like Megan Fox, she was not April O'Neil. I mean, come on. So let's get right into the new adaptation of this beloved franchise, Mutant Mayhem. It starts out, you see the 4 turtles on a excursion to get Splinter some snacks, and they kind of lead into how they want to be a part of the human world because they're still having to hide from them, which is a big theme across every single Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. So then they end up, after some time, and after Splinter telling them not to talk to humans, they end up talking to a human, April O'Neil. So they end up talking to April, and they end up trying to figure out what it's like to actually be a human child in the human world, which they have been like excluded from because they know they wouldn't be accepted. The Turtles have always had this overarching theme of they're worried about if they're going to be accepted by society or not. That's why they live in the shadows, live under the sewers, and basically it kind of gives some depth to the character as well. With the fear of not being accepted is why I think a lot of people gravitate and latch on to these characters in this IP because they feel like that they don't belong. It's kind of like an underdog, outcast kind of thing that I think everyone can relate to in a sense. Anyway, so then they end up finding out that there are other mutants like them. Superfly, Mondo Gecko, Bebop, and Rocksteady. They all show up, and then they have this evil scheme that they want to kill all the humans and have the mutants run the world. Not good. So they end up not okay with that plan, and they try to stop the main mutant, Superfly, who is played by Ice Cube. They try to stop Superfly because they don't want the humans to die. The other mutants team up with them, and then they defeat Superfly. And that's basically the gist of the story. I mean, there's some other aspects that I'm going to go into it further, but that is bare bones what the story is about. Now, let's get into what works with this new adaptation and what doesn't work.
What? Isn't it weird to have your head so far up Dad's butt? Does it smell weird up there?
Ha ha, guys. Very funny.
Your voice is too muffled through the cheeks.
Hey, why don't you try that Batman voice again?
First of all, I need to give it up for the animation. The animation looks crisp, it looks refined, and it looks not really refined, a little messy. And it's what they were trying to go for. They were trying to go for what a kid would draw because these are teenagers, and I think they did that very well. The animation was very pleasing to the eyes. Not to mention that kind of animation style is perfect for action scenes, like how they showed it in Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse and Puss in Boots. I think this animation style is great for action-packed movies that deserve it. And there was nothing better than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to have this own style adapted for them. I even like the character designs. I mean, other than Mikey. Mikey was a little odd. His eyes were a little too far apart. But I like that they kept the glasses on Donatello. Like that was like one of the only good things about the Bayverse movies. Raph having some like scratches and a tooth missing, showing that he is the rough, angry one and gets into fights and stuff. All in all, the character designs were pretty good. The dialogue was very fluent. I loved the fact that they casted real teenagers to voice the Turtles. Because I feel like every single adaptation of the Turtles, you forget about the teenage part in it. They really put the T in the TMNT in this. Dialogue was very fluent with today's slang. It didn't feel like it was forced because they let them improvise. And they didn't make the Turtles super muscular like they were already grown up. That's what I hated about the Bayverse movies. They looked like freaking mini Hulks. They didn't even feel like teenagers. They felt like grown-ass adults, like 30-year-olds. Something that every adaptation has lacked, and I can appreciate them for going that route. Now let me tell you what I didn't think worked with the new adaptation.
You didn't.
I did.
What the hell is even that?
Obviously, there's two characters in particular that I didn't really care for the character design. One was Splinter. Splinter, why? Why did they do you like that? You were supposed to be this wise old man who is basically a ninjutsu master, totally in tune with everything around you. Wise. I didn't feel the wise out of him. It's like they made him just a regular dad who had some ninjutsu VHSs, and then that's how they did. And that's exactly how they showed them learning ninjutsu. And, you know, I liked wise Splinter. Even though that this adaptation has a couple wise moments, he didn't feel wise to me. And I loved that he was played by Jackie Chan. I didn't realize that until I was researching for this. And they completely threw away the whole fucking Master Yoshi shit. I mean, they did in the Bayverse too, which I didn't really like. Come on, guys, you can't just write off Master Yoshi. I mean, he might be dead, or he might actually be Splinter, but, like, you can't just write him off. He's, like, an essential part of the story, and completely removing that removed a lot of Splinter's backstory for me. That was my take on the new Splinter character. The other one that I'm not particularly fond of is April, and it's not for the reasons you think. I have been watching a whole bunch of reviews on this, and they are talking about little minuscule things about how her appearance is wrong, how they changed her up and everything. I'm okay with the design change. I mean, I would have preferred that it was another redhead like it had been in every other adaptation except for Rise, but that's the way they're going into it, and they teased it in Rise of the TMNT. That's going to be the new April. Okay. What I didn't like is how they completely changed up April's character to where she's unrecognizable to who she was before. The reason people gravitated towards April and really liked her was because that she was a brave reporter who never backed out of a story and was never afraid to go into dangerous situations to get a story or to help out her future boyfriend Casey from doing any vigilante stuff. I understand is made for a new generation. Not everyone wants to have their freaking favorite characters anxiety-ridden fucking Gen Z fleabags.
Huh?
Maybe that's not the right term. What I'm saying is that April is supposed to be brave, and I understand that this is young April, and this is only the first movie, and they kind of teased at the end that she is brave by going to the news station and telling them that the turtles were actually helping. She still puked. I mean, she still had that little quirk, but I guess they were showing that she's taking baby steps to being brave, whatever. Anyway, it's the thing about the other April adaptations was because she did it with ease. It just not even thinking about it. Just not even thinking about it, going into dangerous situations. Not having to force herself like she did in this movie. And I understand that it's the first movie, and it's definitely going to get a sequel. I just hope that they change her character up a little bit to where she gets braver. That is the main thing about April, is that she is brave and she will do anything for her story, and she'll go into dangerous situations. That's just not what I'm getting from this April from this movie. And that's all I have to say about it.
Was that so, Ratatouille? Grab another machine and hook him up like the others.
Don't call me a Ratatouille.
Now, I will say, when I had the idea to do this review for the Turtles after I watched it, I was a little critical. I was. This really isn't a bad movie. It really isn't. If you're younger, this movie is probably going to be amazing. If you're a hardcore fan, you might not like this new change, but I think that it would grow on you over time. Like me, I'm not a huge super fan of the Turtles, but I do know some of their things, and you know, I haven't really watched every single adaptation to give you an accurate depiction on whether this is good or not. I was finding out more shit while I was watching old stuff, and finding out that, oh yeah, you're right, that did happen, you know. I was too critical on this movie. It's good. I can't believe I'm saying that. This movie has grown on me since the start of me writing out the script and wanting to do a review on this. It has grown on me, and I think that it is better than what I thought when I first watched it. I feel like it is a good new take and a new way to liven up the story, and I know that this is going to be the Turtles that the next generation are going to compare to whatever comes after this, and that's okay. Before, I had it put down as a 5 out of 10. I'm going to change my score. I'm going to change it to a 7. I'm changing it to a 7 and not higher than that because I think it still needs some time to grow on me. And I'm sure if they release a sequel and they dive deeper into the characters that I will like this interpretation more than probably anything that's came before. It's got that potential, and I think that they can work on that, and I'll just have to wait and see what the sequel holds. Before you click off this video, please hit subscribe. If you like the type of movie reviews I do, that is the best way to stay updated on the next one that I'm going to be doing. And, as always, every single one of my videos has a hint to what I'm going to be doing next. When you find the little Easter egg in the videos, I will shout you out in the next video. You could win. This has been Cluster Reel. Thank you for watching.